Welcome to Fishing Hunt Australia. I'm Dave Butfield.
And I'm Beau Scott.
Well, this week we've travelled north to beautiful Kempsey, Beau.
Yeah, beautiful morning up here on the north coast of New South Wales.
That's right, and we're in for a morning fish, nice and early, and we're going for bass.
We are going for bass. I love catching bass. Very exciting species to catch.
That's right, surface bite, a lot of action, a lot of splashing, and hopefully we can get some good fish. We're going out with Mark Saxon from Castaway Estuary Fishing Charters. A great bloke. We've been out with Mark before, great fisherman, knows what knows his fish, you know, bass, dewies, estuary fishing, you name it, this guy can catch it. So hopefully he'll get us a couple of good bass today. And mate, I can't wait. And it's not far till the sun comes up, so I think we've got to get on the water.
I think so, mate. Yeah, it's on its way. So let's get amongst it.
Let's go.
Trying to survive, barely getting by. Feels like a lifetime till payday. Come the weekend, I'm gone again, fishing my cares away. So if I hook a big one, or I hook a small one, I'm hooked on fishing again. I'm hooked on fishing again.
The Macleay River is located about 4.5 hours north of Sydney. The river stretches for 298 kilometres and is the ideal playing ground for big bass. Today, we're using a wide variety of different lures, from hard bodies to soft plastics, and I'm hoping it won't take too long for one of us to hook up.
Hey.
Oh yeah, good work, mate. Woo! Well, here we go, and not a giant fish, but still a fish to kick the morning off, mate.
It is, mate. It's a good start.
Bit
Beautiful
of
conditions
action.
here, and
Yeah.
obviously we're fishing on the surface, and just a wee little baby one to kick off the morning.
Well, mate, well, not a bad fish.
Right on the edge of that weed there, and you can actually see the fish come out from underneath that weed and hit that lure, and how good's that?
Mate, good start, mate. And we started just as the sun's coming up. We didn't get many hits, but as that sun's starting to come up now, it's starting to warm up. I mean, and that's bass fishing. You know, you could be here all morning, cast, and not get a hit, and someone just turns that switch on, and fish start biting. Yeah, the barometer could be dropping. You might have a storm coming through. Who knows? It's the barometer does take a big effect on the bass, and yeah, we'll get a photo of him very shortly and get him back in the water. But we're using these little cicadas. You're probably closer there, Beau. You can show that.
A little cicada, obviously just on top of the surface, and the action I've been using is just a little bit of a jig and pause, let it sit there for a second, and a little bit more, pause, and it just worked on him. So I think we should get him back in the water, Dave, and see if we can get a few more on board.
Yeah, can't catch fish without lures in the water, so beautiful.
We've had a bit of a break from fishing, and we're lucky enough to be joined by Susie Bellog, 2004 Olympic gold medal at skeet?
At Olympic Trap.
Olympic Trap, and we're at Cecil Park Clay Target Range, and what are we going to do out here today, Dave?
Oh, we're going to have a bit of fun, do some shooting. We've got John here from Halsey Park. Now, John, you do a lot of this stuff, and Susie, you're a legend. And what are we going to be doing today?
Well, just some introductory clay targets. So we'll do some sporting, some ski, and some down the line. And we've got some kids along too to see if you three are better than them.
Oh, that'd be great. Now, first up, I want to talk about your gold medal, because it's a great achievement to have a gold medal. Have you got it here?
Yeah, I do. It's tucked in my pocket. It's been through hundreds of thousands of hands.
I mean, it must be a lot of pressure when you're at one of these events, shooting, and especially the title, you know, shooting for Australia. It's a lot of pressure there.
Absolutely. There was about 4 million Australians were watching it live back at home, and you know, you've got hundreds of people on the range and video cameras and media and everything, so it's really in your face.
Yeah, it would be for sure. Now, John, you do a bit of it yourself?
Yeah, I do a little bit of sporting clays, a little bit different from what Susie does, and nowhere near as good as her.
No, it's great fun. And look, I've got Lockie out here today, but anyone can do this. You have open days where you don't need a licence.
No, I do come try shooting through the club. So through my business Hitting Targets, we actually come along and teach people how to shoot, give them an introduction to it. So as long as you don't have a criminal record and you're mentally stable enough to give it a go, you can come along.
What about an age limit? Is there age limit to it?
Yeah, it's generally 12 throughout Australia. Some states are a little bit younger, but 12 to sky's the limit, 98 if you want.
Well, that's great. Well, mate, I reckon we get the kids ready. You're going to show the kids some of the basic stuff, how to stand hard to hold a gun, and the girls are out here as well. They've done it a bit, so we'll get you to do that with them, and then we'll get out there, maybe a bit of competition, Beau.
We might need a few basic tips too, though.
I think, yeah, a lot of tips, a lot of tips. Well, let's get the gear ready and have a bit of a shoot.
Okay guys, we're going to go and shoot some clay targets in a minute, but first I just want to check you guys have got the basics, okay? So a few things to remember. One is always close the gun with the barrels pointing up, down range, okay? Not at the ground. The next thing is to make sure that you only load it up when it's over the rail. And then the other things, I just want to check on your technique. So the first thing is to check your stance, righto? So the idea with the stance is to have a little bit of your body weight forward so you can actually move into the target. So let's just try that at the moment. Okay, now that we've got the basics all checked out again, what we can do is make sure we've got our glasses on, our hearing protection in, and go give it a go. You ready?
Yeah.
Yep. Let's go.
Well, Susie, we've just seen the kids do some basic practice or techniques.
Yeah, they've definitely learned how to keep their head on the stock, how to lean into the gun, and to make sure that they wait for the target to come to an apex or when the shot's going to have the biggest impact.
So what are we doing now? It's a bit of a competition, Beau. What do you reckon?
Yeah, 3 adults, 3 kids, I think only be fair. I'm a bit worried to tell the truth though.
I think we're going to get our butts kicked, to be honest. I just seen the way they just shot then. It was absolutely amazing. And we've got John as our backup. I know it's a good backup, but we've got him as a backup there, so...
I don't know about that, don't rely on me, guys.
But look, the kids, this is a great sport, and as we just talked about before, for kids from 12 and up, and once they've got their permit, they can come out and do this kind of stuff as well.
Yeah, they definitely can. I mean, they've got to do it under supervision, but really that's someone's love, teaching a kid how to actually shoot. Watch them break their first target, it's pretty awesome.
That's amazing. Oh, hopefully they don't break too many, but hopefully we can break a few, but I reckon kids up first, I reckon. What do you reckon, Lock? Yep, right to go. Well, let's go.
Oh!
Yeah.
Well done. Guess what? Faster that.
Beau! 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 Well, looking at the scoreboard, it looks like we're in for a bit of a challenge. I'm pretty scared, so it's time for Beau, John and myself to have a go.
Oh!
Paul! Paul!
Oh!
Paul! Paul! Well, there we have it, mate. I don't know what the score is yet, but it doesn't look too good.
No, a bit disappointing, we reckon, John.
Yeah, the handicapper got us. I think they got us on handicap.
Yeah, that's what it was.
The kids did really well.
Susie, what was the final score?
23-18 with handicaps, the kids smoked.
We got our bums kicked, and yeah, because it was a handicap, and we had to win, against us. We had all these little elements. Yeah, it was just terrible. So, but look, congratulations to the kids because they've done a great job.
And it just shows how family friendly the sport is, and it's great to get out. And what is it, age limit of 12?
That's
Start
right.
shooting from 12, John?
Yeah, they're juniors. They can get their juniors permit from 12 and they can shoot supervised.
And as Susie mentioned before, they have an open day where you can come out, you don't need a gun licence, you can go out here and have a shot, but you've got to fill in the correct paperwork.
Fill in appropriate paperwork, but Susie can line all that up.
Great. Well, give Susie a call, name and numbers up on the screen, website, and give her a call and come out here and experience this great sport. Thanks, guys. Mate, Beau, time to get back on the water, buddy.
Sounds good to me. We've had a good day here, but
Mate, it was great to be beaten by 3 great blokes.
There you go.
let's go chase a few bass.
Yeah, you're up on the board already, and we've got a couple of bits and pieces, so, mate, let's go on the water.
Sounds good.
Had to be a fish in there.
Yeah, not a big one, but anyway, we're on the board again. Dave, how you going?
Oh yeah, mate, I'm fine. I'm fine up here. I told you I'll let you catch a small fish. I'll just wait till I get the 40s and 50s.
I said to Dave just then, I said there's got to be a fish in here.
Has to be. About 2 seconds later.
Sure enough, only a little one, but thereabouts. So.
As you can see, the sun's come up now, so it's pointless if we're going to fish surface to be where that sun is. So we've still got a little bit of shade on the left-hand side here up the river. So we're working these shady pockets, and we've probably got another hour or so, and then we'll probably change over and start using some deeper divers or some spinner baits. Hopefully we can see his big brother very shortly. But still plenty of time, and still plenty of different techniques to try as well. So we'll get some lures in the water, and hopefully I can hook up very shortly. The sun was starting to come up over the river, and at this stage I'm feeling a little bit of pressure as Beau's landed 2 fish and I still haven't got a bite yet. Even though I haven't landed a fish yet, it's so enjoyable fishing on this beautiful river with your mates. Well, we've just had a bit of fun, and Beau, mate, couple of one nice fish and one smaller fish.
Yeah, on the surface, obviously early in the morning, just using a little cicada, more or less throw it on top of the surface as the name explains itself, and with these little wings that you can sort of see on the side there, it sort of waddles along the top of the water, and the technique that I was using this morning, I was giving a little bit of a pull and pausing it.
Yep.
And the fish were actually coming up and inspecting it actually when it was stopped, and that's when I got me 2 bites. It's
That's
actually
right.
when the lure was
The
stopped.
pause.
Yeah, that's right. Obviously during the middle of the day, and that sun's up now, we've changed to the spinner baits, and
That's right.
different sort of technique with them, I guess.
Well, we're going to go to deeper water. We're going to go through the weeds. No good to use a hard body lure with a bib because you just won't get through the weeds. Where the surface lure is great for weedy area, you go across the top, you get the odd weed, but you will get early morning, late afternoon, you'll get some great fish. And then the spinner baits will go deeper. They've got a big blade on there that's an attractant, little feathers, and we've got a little stinger hook on the back. So a lot of times with these, they'll bite it and miss the hook. So putting that little stinger on the back definitely helps your hook up rate. So we'll drop that down, get to that deeper water, get through the weeds. If you do get stuck, rip, pulls it through, gets the weed off it. So we'll try that, and hopefully we get a couple.
Yeah,
of
they
that
come
way.
over the top of the weed pretty good too, don't they? Especially with the hooks facing inwards, obviously.
That's right.
And that's the whole idea of them, to drag them through that weed and drop them off where the weed drops off into the deeper water.
Right, mate, well, we'll get some lures in the water, change yours over.
Sounds good.
Yeah, and see if we can get a couple. You're on?
I'm on.
Yeah, I'll get the net, mate.
What do you reckon, mate? What sort of size are you looking at?
I'm looking at really big.
Oh, he's not bad.
Well, off he goes. Not over yet, Mark. Beautiful colours on it. Look at the colours. Beautiful. Slowly getting in there. There you go, little fella. Well, that's a bit bigger fish, Mark. Well, probably like a 30. We've had a bit of a struggle this morning, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. We haven't been too lucky at all.
You've got a
Obviously,
couple on the board.
on the surface there earlier on, but been a bit quiet since then. And we just checked the barometer; it's heading up.
It is, so maybe
this
it's a
might
good
be a
thing.
bit of a positive for us at the moment.
And look, bass fishing's like that. Mark's been saying all morning, don't worry, boys. You know, we've had these quiet little sessions in the morning, and all of a sudden, you know, as things change through the day, you know, tide changes, barometer changes, fish can come on the bite. And what's that, probably what, 30, 32?
32 centimetre fish.
Yep, yep. We're
Well done,
slowly
mate.
getting a few on the board. Look, I'm still 0. I've had one.
2-1-0. Just to keep score.
So anyway, but that's what it's all about. But the spinner baits now, and later on, Mark, we might try some soft plastics, get some gulps on. Well, as you just heard from Beau's comments, I still haven't had any luck hooking a fish. So I think it's time for a quick move down to the road bridge to see if I can change my luck and get a hook up.
Wow. Took you a while.
Oh, look at this! Look at this! It's a flatty.
Oh.
Going for bass and I get a flatty. Would you believe that?
Well, you said it, mate. Second cast at the bridge and
Oh, can you believe it? You got some lip grippers there.
you go,
Thanks,
mate.
mate. How funny is that? And Mark said to me, he said, Dave, don't be surprised if you'll see a flatty.
Oh, there's your first fish of the day, Dave.
Well, it's still a fish, and I'm happy to catch it. It wasn't much of a fight because it was right near the boat. Well, there you go. Going for bass, and lucky me, I get a flathead. So, not a giant flatty, but it's still a fish, and I'll take that at the moment. I have to take it because I am down to 0. Now I've got one on the board. Not the target species, but not a bad bycatch.
Today we're going to speak a little bit about chokes and shotguns and what they do and different chokes. There's a couple of different chokes for different applications, isn't there, John?
Yeah, that's correct. Your choke's basically a restriction at the end of the barrel, and what this does is it controls the spread of your shot pattern. So you can have a wider pattern, a half pattern, or the tightest, fullest pattern that you can achieve out of a shotgun.
So the difference between chokes application in clay target shooting and I guess vermin control, say rabbits or foxes along them lines, is there much difference in the chokes you actually use?
Yeah, you can. Different clay target competitions, you might need, say for instance, skeet. You need an open choke because the targets are closer. If you've got going away targets, you need a tighter choke to hold that pattern as tight as possible for as long as possible.
So the tighter pattern, the pellets actually travel further in a group, so you can sort of reach them ducks that are flying away.
That's correct.
And then I guess with the rabbits, if you're in close quarters, or you're among bushes and trees.
Yeah, you need a wider spread.
So yeah, real wide spread so you can get that target.
That's correct.
So the difference between the two chokes that we're sitting here, obviously that's a long one. It'll stick out the end of the barrel.
Yes, that's extended. That just makes it a little bit easier to identify and change. They're clearly marked on the side, the size of the chokes. And then you've also got a flush fitting choke which sits in the end of the barrel and doesn't protrude out.
So there's not much of a difference with the way they work, it's more of what they look like.
More of a convenience, yeah.
Okay. Today I guess we've learned a little bit about choke and what they actually use for in a shotgun. If you need any more information, drop in to see my friend John at Horsley Park Gun Shop. Where are you located at?
1848 the Horsley Drive, Horsley Park. And our website is www.hpgs.com.au.
All right, well, just we're heading down to the rail bridge, and that's where we're going to try for some bass. But just on the way through, we've seen a little school of bait, so good chance of getting a bass through there. So I'm going to use a plastic, a gulp, a Berkeley gulp. This is a Nemesis. This is the Pearl Watermelon, and I've been using these on jewfish. Last time we were up this way with Mark, we got some nice dewies on them. But the bigger versions, these are the small ones. These are 4-inch, and you can see. Nice big long tail, easy to use, they'll just spin around. Now I've got my jig head on here, but also I've got a blade. So just another extra attractant, just like a spinnerbait that's going to spin around. They're going to see that flash and they're going to come over and have a look. Could look like a bait, you know, bit of bait swimming through, and then they're going to see my Berkeley Gulp, the Nemesis. So we'll put that on now and we'll get that over and hopefully we'll get a bass or two, and then we'll head down to that road bridge or the rail bridge. Alright, so we've got our gulp on, and what we're going to do, let it drop down a little bit, and I'm just going to do a slow retrieve. Now in with that, I can give it a little flip, just a little touch. So just slow, or you can just give it a bit of a lift. Just like, look, I use the same as like I'm going with brim, or you can just do a slow retrieve. We've got that blade on there, we've got that big tail on the nemesis, so that'll be fluttering along. And just slow retrieve. You want to give it a flick, give it a little flick. Should make it look like a wounded bait fish. If you do get stuck in the weed, these are pretty good, they'll come out. Just give it a bit of a flick. And that's all there is to it. So very, very simple.
All right, Dave's having a fish here with a soft plastic. I'm going to go down a different path. I'm going to use a blade. So with a blade, pretty simple to use. Throw them out, slow retrieve, and the blade will actually vibrate through the water and attract the fish that way. And 2 treble hooks on the end of them. Hopefully I can get a bass today, but they do work good on a lot of different species of fish as well. Along with that, I've got some sack scent. Dave's been using this sack scent for a lot of years now and raves about it. 5 different flavours you can use. I've got the wasabi today, great for fresh water, but don't discriminate between the different flavours in salt and fresh water because they all work great. So I'm going to get some of that on my blade and get that in the water and hopefully catch a few more fish and see if Dave can get one on the board too.
Yep, I'm on.
You're on, mate.
Yep, I'm on.
Right, grab that net.
I don't know if it's a floaty or not.
Mate, you sharpened your act up towards the end of the day. What do you reckon
mate,
you got on
lucky.
here?
Oh no, maybe a floaty. It's not kicking hard. Oh, it's a bass.
It's bass. It is a bass, mate.
It is a bass.
How about that? Bass and flatties in the same spot. There he
Beautiful.
is. Well done, mate.
Excellent. Mate, I wouldn't believe to get a flatty and a bass in the same spot. That is just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible, isn't it? We've got
Yeah.
2 flathead there, and
Yeah, you got the flatty, I got a flatty, and I've got a bass. I think Beau's beat me by sure. The last 2 he's got are definitely bigger. There's only a tiny fish, but look, it's still a bass, and it has been a hard day's fishing, hasn't it? It's been a bit of a hard day.
Very hard for bass.
Yeah, so all right, we'll get him back in the water. And might have a couple more casts, and hopefully we can get another one before we go home. All right, well, we'll get this little guy back in the water so you can fight another day. See you later, buddy. You have a good one, eh? There he goes. Beautiful. Slow little swim off. Excellent. Well, mate, got a bit scared there for a while, but bass and flathead, that's pretty amazing.
it is in the one spot. Like, we're up the other end, obviously catching a few bass and come down here to the bridge and a few flathead and top the day off with a little bass at the end of the day for yourself.
That's right, exactly. All right, mate, well, we've got some bass in there and we want to get a couple of photos as well, so we'll get some photos, get them back in and head to the boat ramp.
Sounds good to me.
So here we are, Beau, back at the boat ramp, mate. What a interesting day.
Yeah, it was a trying day, but enjoyable one at the end of that. We had some good weather and we got a few fish, not as many as we liked, but
That's fishing.
still had a good time.
That's it, and that's what it's all about, getting out there and trying different things. We tried a few different lures, surface, spinner baits, soft plastics, vibes. We tried a bit of everything.
We tried everything, mate, and we got a few bass in the morning, and you can see later we went down there and got a few flathead and a bass with the flathead. So
That's right, that's interesting. I
it's
haven't
good.
done that before.
Yeah.
But we just looked at the barometer. The barometer's down to what, 1,014. So I reckon that's probably the main reason, that dropping barometer. And I like to get it up to that 1,020.
I'd like to thank Mark for coming along, and we used a bit of his product today, the Sack Scents.
Yes, a great scent.
5 different flavours, and yeah, first time for me, but yeah, if you haven't used it, I presume,
Give it a go.
yeah.
Yeah, and fresh water, salt water. I've used it on Deweys, I've used it on Brim. It's a great product. Also, we've got to thank Mark from Castaway Estuary Charters. Great bloke, and not just fresh water as you've seen today. We go out and do Dewey fishing, and that's something we'll have to do later.
Yeah,
in the
that'd
year.
be nice to come back up and join you for a
Feels like
Jewish
a
fish.
Yeah. Mate, I've had a great time. I reckon we go home, mate.
Sounds good to me. See you somewhere next week around Australia.
Weekend, I'm gone again, fishing my cares away. So if I hook a big one, or I hook a small one, I'm hooked on fishing again. I'm hooked on fishing again.